up, everybody? What up? Same shit, different day, pretty much for all of us. I literally just got done clearing my throat, and now I feel like I have to again. Hold on. Shit. Yeah, just living that quarantine life like everybody should be doing. I was gonna say everybody's doing, but that's not the fucking case. But yeah, so hoping everybody's okay out there. Everybody's staying healthy, staying away from people as much as they can. I know I have some friends that still have to work out in public, and that really fucking sucks. Luckily I'm working from home, and I wish everybody could, but I know that's not a reality. So good luck to everybody out there that has to still work out in the public. For the most part, been doing a bunch of nothing. Hang out with my daughter, play games with her, play games by myself, a bunch of a bunch of Animal Crossing, which is fun, and that is about it. Over the weekend, we drove into the quote country, out a little 30-45 minutes away, just to drive. We stopped at a barbecue place because it's a little town that's known for their barbecue, kind of. So we bought some barbecue to bring home to have for dinner, and it was okay. The one we stopped at first was sold out. That was probably the one that was really good because they were already sold out. The one that we ended up stopping at was okay. It wasn't the best. The local one here in Magnolia, actually, I like better, so whatever. But that was nice getting out. We stopped at a field and looked at all the fucking flowers, bluebonnets, and we went and looked at our house that we were buying and seeing they added the driveway and the sidewalks now, so that's cool. That's about it, though. Haven't really done much else the entire week, but what are we supposed to do? Trying to get more of shit done that I've been wanting to do, as far as not the podcast, but like my video stuff goes. But I'm over this house, waiting for the new house so that I can actually set stuff up the way I really want it, because I'm going to have more room. I'm going to have the whole garage to do whatever the fuck I want to, plus the room that I'm putting my computer and stuff in is going to be bigger, so I'm going to have a lot more room, just in general. I have stuff in here that's going to go in the garage that's going to free up so much space, so that's going to be cool. So I'm just kind of overdoing shit in my room right now, but whatever. I know I'd mentioned on last episode that I was going to read my story that I wrote, but I'm not going to do that today, only because I haven't read it myself yet, and I kind of want to look over it. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I wanted to read it just so I can know what I'm about to read. Not that it's going to stop me from reading anything. I don't give a fuck about that. Just because if I want to like add any like I said before, like any voices or anything like that to it, just kind of get a feel of the vibe of the story, because I don't remember. It's been, oh man, that was I think it's been like over 20 years. So, and I probably haven't read it in at least 10, maybe not quite 10, but probably close to 10 years. So I don't remember anything about it, honestly, other than there's a museum involved. So instead, I was thinking about, like, since nothing's really going on other than the shit you see on Facebook, which everybody sees it, everybody's tired of it. I'm not even going to go over any of that shit, really. So I was thinking about, like, maybe a story or something in my past that I can think of that would be semi-related to, like, our whole quarantine, staying at home, social distancing shit. And I thought of something that's kind of the opposite, which is kind of a funny story. So I'm gonna kind of talk about this one. I grew up around, ages maybe 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there. Some pretty crazy years as a boy growing up, trying to figure out what the fuck he is and everything. I'm sure for a girl too. It's just I'm not a girl, so I don't know. Um, man, sorry. Tried to clear all this shit out before I even got on here, but that didn't work. But anyway, and we lived in a pretty ghetto area of South Houston. And I was one of only like two white kids in the entire neighborhood at any time, but we lived there. So it was a little rough for me. Well, it could have been rough for me, but I kind of turned into, for a little while, a bad kid, and to help me fit in, and I did okay. But it definitely wasn't the best area to be in. If anybody knows Houston, it was 59 in Homestead area. I actually drove a year or two ago. Drove in the trailer park that we lived in, and it is rough. It was bad when we lived there, but man, it is definitely worse now. It's really, really, really rough. I'm gonna go after all this shit's done. I've been talking about with my friend Derek. I met him. I've known him now for 20 years, and I met him living in the same trailer park, and we were talking about it. And when all this shit's over with, I think me and him are gonna make a trip down there just to look around, and I'll try to get some pictures. Because man, it's just wild to think that we lived there. And like I said, it's different now, but it was bad when we lived there. So, and it's been a long time since I lived there. So maybe I'm romanticizing it a little bit, thinking it wasn't as bad as it really was. I don't know. But there was this kid that lived like 3 trailers down from me. We lived like on a corner. So he was like around the corner of the street, like catty corner to our trailer, but like 3 trailers down. And he lived with, okay, this is going to be a couple stories mixed into one now, okay? So I can really get to the whole point of this. He had a younger brother. He was my age, around 12 or so, 12, 13, 11, somewhere around there. He lived with his mom, his dad. He had a little brother and a little sister that were both like 5-ish, somewhere around there. But so this predates the story that I'm trying to get to, but apparently his dad was really abusive to his mom, and I didn't know this. He didn't talk about this, and I had no reason to know. I was only 12 or so. So one night, my room was like a big giant bay window into the street. So one night I hear someone knocking on my window in the middle of the night. As soon as I wake up, I could see just like siren or lights just flash. My whole room was lit up red and blue. Open my curtain, it's Lupe, the kid that lived down the street, and he's fucking bawling, crying, asking if he can come inside. He needs to get away from the house, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? I don't remember the details if he told me right then and there or what, but I know my parents woke up and because they heard everything and they let him come inside to try to calm him down. But I don't remember the whole timeline of when we found out or anything. But come to find out, his dad apparently was hitting his mom, and she finally just had enough and stabbed him and killed him. So he was obviously freaking out because he just saw his mom kill his dad. So yeah, that was pretty wild. They still lived there for a while after that, and I don't remember exactly what the deal was, but there was a guy that was more or less, I don't know why I say more or less, straight up was stalking Lupe's mom. I think it was a friend of his dad's, and I don't think it was anything like he wanted to kill her or anything. He was just like super obsessed with her for whatever reason, and now that the dad wasn't there, he was trying to like move in on the girl, on the mom, but she didn't want nothing to do with him, because I remember Lupe had told me that he would like show up places they were at and like try to talk to her, and she kept telling him to go away, and then he would go away. Like, it wasn't like he was violent or anything, but it was just like really fucking creepy. They would be driving somewhere and he'd be like randomly on the street and like try to stop them, and it was really fucking weird. And I don't remember for sure, but I kind of have the feeling that I remember that Lupe told me he didn't even live like around the corner or anything. He was like on the other side of Houston or something. So that was even more weird. Well, we one day we all got home from school. I actually went to a different school. We went to a school not in the same district. My parents didn't want us to go to that school because it was worse than the other school that we had been going to. So my mom would just drive us to the other school we were going to. But anyway, we got home from school one day after my mom picked us up. The kids in the neighborhood got off their bus for their school and everything, and Lupe came over and knocked on my window. And he's like, "Hey, I need you to come help me walk through the house." And I'm like, "What do you mean walk through the house?" He's like, "I think somebody might be in there." And remember, we're like 11 or 12 years old. And I was like, "What makes you think that?" And he's like, my door was cracked, and we always leave it closed. We don't necessarily lock it, but it's always closed, and it was cracked. I was like, okay. And I thought nothing of it. Like, there's not going to be anybody in this fucking house. So I go over there with him. We open the door. We walk in the living room. Nothing's there. We turn to the right. And I want to say there was 2 bedrooms to the right. We walked in the first bedroom, and it was just like a guest room or something. There wasn't really anything in there. He grabbed a baseball bat, and then there was a golf club, and he gave me the golf club. So I'm like, okay, this might be kind of real. So he looks in the closet, nothing in there. Goes down the hall, looks in the bathroom, opens the shower, nothing in there. Goes to the last room, opens it up, looks in the closet, looks under the bed, all that, nothing in there. We go more through the living room, dining room, nothing in there. We get back to his mom's room and look around, look under the bed, look in the bathroom, nothing there. And he looks at me and he points into the closet and he's like whispering or like mouthing, "I think somebody's in the closet." So I'm like, oh shit. At this point, I'm like, fuck, this might be serious. Go over to the closet. He slides the door open and there's a fucking man crouched down in the closet. At this point now, I'm fucking terrified. I don't know what the fuck is going on, because I thought it was kind of like a joke and like just trying to be cool, like, hey, we're gonna find somebody, and there legit was a guy crouched down in the fucking closet. So Lupe starts fucking hitting him with the baseball bat, and the guy stands up, and he's talking in Spanish because I guess this guy didn't speak English. He's like cussing him out, and Lupe's telling him get the fuck out of his house, and like hitting him in the legs with the baseball bat and everything, and the guy leaves. That was pretty much it. It's weird that we didn't call the cops or anything. So he leaves. Well, this is like before cell phones and stuff, so he doesn't call his mom to tell her or whatever, but his mom gets home like 30 minutes later, and she saw him on the street down the road, like limping down the road, and he like almost jumped in front of her car or whatever, and then we told her the story. And from what I remember after that, I don't think he ever really came around again. Lupe, me and Lupe both were bigger kids. We weren't. I wasn't. I was chubby. I wasn't fat, but I was a chubby kid. And from what I remember, Lupe wasn't super skinny either. So we were good sized 12, 13-year-olds. And this dude was a little dude. He was like, I'd be surprised if he were 130 pounds, 5 foot tall. So I mean, he was a pretty tiny dude. So I think we kind of scared the shit out of him. And he never came around again from what I remember, but they moved maybe 6 months after that or something. I made the 6 months up. I really don't remember. But I know they moved not too terribly long after that. And yeah, so that was pretty wild. And that was the opposite of social distancing, because that dude was all up in their closet. That was some weird shit. Lots of weird shit happened at that trailer park, though. I have quite a few funny stories and wild stories that I'm going to tell over time, and a lot of them are at that trailer park. I don't know if anybody that's listening right now listened to the podcast that I started at first. At first, I started a podcast called Hi, My Name is Brian, and all I was going to do was each episode would be a story from my past, and then just talk about it and kind of break down what happened and how it might have affected me in my life, or the way I do something or think about something. And I didn't necessarily decide against doing that. I'm still possibly going to do that, but I decided against that being my first real endeavor into podcasting, because the main reason that I wanted to do it was because I didn't want to have to like follow any kind of guidelines or any kind of story. I just wanted to be able to just get on here and just say whatever the fuck comes to my mind. And with that, I was getting to the point where I was like writing everything down that I was going to say almost. Not writing what I was going to say, but like giving myself basically a storyboard of when I was going to say certain things and how I was going to bring it up, and then I can just go from there. And I don't want to do that. Now, once I get further into this and I get more comfortable speaking and stuff like that, I might go back to that, because it is still a really cool idea. And right now I'm looking at the document. I have 51 different stories that can be 51 different episodes. Granted, I just told one of them that I probably wouldn't tell again on that podcast because that'd be kind of weird. But I do definitely, of those 51, at least 30 of those are episodes that I'd be able to talk quite a bit on and make it a 30-minute plus episode that would be pretty entertaining. Some of them are little smaller smaller stories that I definitely have to like squeeze some other stories in with them that are related to make it be really worth making an episode out of, but they're still interesting or entertaining nonetheless. And I might eventually still get back to that, but I don't know. As of right now, that's not my idea of what I want to do with this. I also played around with the idea of recreating some of these stories in a video instead, and like maybe embellishing the stories a little bit to make them funnier, and making little sketches out of them, or skits. That's why I said sketches. And that could be really cool too. I still don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of waiting until we move into the new house so that I can really set up my area and get a better vibe of my workspace and stuff like that. So that'll be when things start to move forward. Plus, when things go back to fucking normal. And like right now, I'm working 4 p.m. to midnight, and I actually don't hate it since we can't go anywhere anyway. Because I can wake up in the morning and I have all day to do whatever the hell I want until I work at 4, and then when I get off at midnight, I stay awake for another hour or two, and then go to bed and wake up early again, and then I have a lot of time before I have to work again. So it's actually not bad. I don't hate it. I just hate not being able to go anywhere, anytime. So, man, I just saw on Facebook, I don't keep track of dates of anything, but my mom had just posted that my Uncle Jimmy, it's been 9 years since he passed away, and he was he was crazy. He was awesome, cool, super cool dude, so fun to hang out with and be around. Loved to party. One of the reasons he died so early, I think he was only in his 40s. But I actually, I have a story. I guess I'll tell one of these stories about him since I have it, since we're talking about him and it's been 9 years, and I have the story actually right here in front of me. He had, oh my God, what the fuck is the name of the disease? Holy shit. I just blanked out. Oh my God. Tourette's. Oh shit. He had Tourette's. He took medication for it that helped a lot, because his Tourette's would not be just like small twitches or just like blurting out words. He would also like grab things, so he couldn't sit in like the passenger side of a car because he would randomly grab the steering wheel and jerk it, or grab the rear view, or the rear view mirror and like turn it away, and just like shit like that, like impulse, like really random things, if he wasn't on his medication. When he was on his medication, he wouldn't do those things. He would just like have small twitches and like still have the random outbursts of stuff. But he was real bad about taking his medication, I think. So he usually sat in like the back seat to for safety reasons. But he still always had the vocal twitches of just blurting out things, and I don't know the mechanics behind it or whatever, but he would always blurt out the worst things. He would blurt out the things that I feel like he was subconsciously thinking he was worried he was going to blurt out certain things, so that's what would actually come out. So we went to Walmart one day. It was me, him, my mom, and my sister. He dropped off my mom and my sister at the front door and let them go inside. And he's like, "Here, you can cruise around the parking lot with me, looking at bitches." And I was like, "All right, cool." So we just like drove around the parking lot, just like people watching or whatever. And we get down one of the aisles, and there was a really bigger woman walking towards the front, and I just remember like we had the windows down, the music, or the music wasn't super loud, but the music was playing, the windows were down. I think his sunroof was down, stuff like that. And then as soon as she walks out, like right by the car, he goes, "Ew!" Like fat bitch and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck!" So he would turn and go down a different aisle to try to get away. And it's like I would crack up laughing, but you can tell he felt so bad. Like he didn't think it was funny. He wasn't doing it intentionally. I think it, like I said, I think it's one of those things like he knows that he has this problem, so he's thinking, don't say anything wrong, don't say anything wrong. And that makes him in turn say something wrong. And I thought it was funny at the time when I was a little kid. I don't remember how old I was. I was probably around 10 or so. And then, no, you know what? This was at the Tomball Walmart, so we'd already moved to Magnolia. So it was probably more like 13, 14, actually, now that I think about it. And then I remember we were right by the front door, and a black family walked across, and he just went, and then said the N-word. And they looked, and he just like turned and went down the street. He's like, and just parked. He's like, "Fuck, I can't drive around anymore." He like, you can tell he felt so fucking bad. Like, I can imagine like just blurting out the worst possible things. Well, I say I can't imagine, but I do that on purpose a lot. But like he would blurt out the worst possible things, like super loud, directly towards towards people, and instantly regret it because he didn't do it on purpose, and he would just feel so terrible. And it was sometimes really funny, sometimes really embarrassing, and sometimes just like sad. Like you felt bad for him and bad for the people that heard what he just said, because a lot of other people didn't understand. They just think he's fucking calling them names, like yelling them names to be a dick, and that wasn't necessarily the case. So it was pretty wild. It was wild. But other than that, he was really cool. He loved listening to music, loved jamming really fucking loud. So back then at the time, I had 215s in my Blazer, and whenever I'd go to visit them, me and him would cruise around and just turn fucking rock music is what he loved. So we'd turn some rock music up like super fucking loud, and drive around fucking knocking pictures off people's walls, and he just thought it was fucking the coolest thing ever. And yeah, it was really cool. I definitely miss him. Can't believe it's been 9 years. That's insane. Time goes by so fucking fast sometimes, except for right now. Time's going by really slow right now, it feels like. We still have till at least the end of this month before this shit's starting to settle down. And I have a feeling it's going to be longer than that based off of what I see people post and what I see friends of mine that work in the public, what they post, and what I've seen in parking lots driving by places. I had to go drop something off at a post office, and I swung by a drive-through and got me something for lunch, and I went and ate it in the Walmart parking lot. Walmart parking lot was packed, and people were just like groups going in and out of the store, like whole families. And I have a friend that works at that Walmart and saying that she sees people just like browsing the clothing and browsing the electronics and just like walking with their whole family and teenagers just like hanging out there and shit like that. So I don't see how the end of the month is going to be any better than it is right now. And like I said, you guys all see the same shit that I see. I just hope that everybody, if you're not taking it serious yet, you start to very soon so that we can get over this and get back to a normal fucking life, because I am tired of being at home all the time. But yeah, I did a live Zoom thing over the weekend and it was a huge bust. Nobody joined. Well, like 3 people joined, and I didn't expect like 100 people to join or anything like that, but I definitely had like 10 people act like they were super interested, and then none of those people actually joined. So it sucked. I recorded it, and then I, like, after it was over, I instantly deleted it. I don't want any part of it. It was 90% of it was just me and my buddy Chris just basically saying, is nobody else coming? So nothing. There's some parts of it that would have been funny, but I just trashed the whole thing. I think instead of doing like a group Zoom recording again, I might just do like what I'm doing right now, just recording it. I might do a live Facebook one of like a video of me actually while I'm recording the podcast. I might do one like that, just like so people can comment on the thing and I can answer questions or talk back with people. But I think asking people to actually join and talk and stuff was just asking too much of people. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I don't know. I understand that people. I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole, but I know people are flaky and just back out of things. And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. I do the shit too, I'm sure. I just mean it's hard to expect somebody to actually commit to doing anything. So I think it's kind of unrealistic right now, especially since I'm not like anybody. It's unrealistic to expect like 5 or 10 people to join in and actually chat and stuff. So it's whatever. I might do another one of those like that later if I can get like a couple people that I trust to actually commit to logging in and chatting with me. But I think a one-on-one chat thing with a friend that we schedule or whatever would probably be the best way to go. Which I still plan on doing a few of those soon. Right now is probably the best time during all this shit while everybody's not working and everything. So I'll probably schedule one of those actually really soon. So yeah, if anybody else has any ideas, something that they think would be cool, let me know. But I already know basically what I plan on doing. It's getting hot in here. I had to turn my ceiling fan off, otherwise it makes like a whooshing noise that you can barely hear in the background, and I hate it. So I'm gonna go so I can turn the fucking fan on. So everybody out there, stay safe and stay home and stay cool. Peace.